Hey, it's Sam here, and welcome to another, episode of Rubanverse Explained. Yay, I finally made another one. I'm sorry for the delay. This one, however, is going to be about one of my favorite OCs. I say that a lot, but I love her very much. Her name is Riot, and currently she's the most recent person, I guess, to come from Sam Allen's consciousness, and she's been in existence for about like a month and a half to 2 months. Riot's hard to explain, which maybe isn't the best thing to say right at the start of this video, but it's fine. Some fun little things about her. She's bisexual. She's just 21. Riot's whole thing, basically her whole thing, is she has a magical deck of cards, and a majority of it is used to kill people in various different brutal ways, like acid, electrocution, etc. But she also has cards that do other useful things. She has like a normal card deck, ace to king, I think it is, and then the 4 suits or whatever. 7's cards are the ones that show her like where people are, but only if she knows like their name or like what they look like. She has 4 portal cards, which are the threes, and then her healing cards are all of her like aces. Her cards work by absorbing the chaos energy and like the energy of the universe like into the cards, and then they expel said energy when the cards are used. The cards then have to like recharge by absorbing more chaos energy from around them, but if she's not in their original universe, aka universe 1, then they can't recharge and she can only use it once, which isn't good. Not really. Her personality, she jokes around a lot and is blunt about a lot of things. I'd say she's more of an anti-hero than anything. Still willing to kill at a second's notice, but seeing the bigger picture of, hey, maybe chaos is kind of not good. And another little detail about her, she can read people pretty easily. She can read people pretty easily and rarely forgets what people sound like. Now, you might be wondering how exactly, or I guess why exactly, is she the most recent person to come from Sam Allen's consciousness? Well, that's because of Eris. The goddess of discord and strife. Well, kind of goddess. Flame turned goddess, because flames are basically the embodiments of any concept in the universe. And there's main 7, fate, destiny, time, space, reality, life, and death and suffering, aka chaos. Yeah, chaos is one of the big ones. That's not good. But the main 7 made all religions, like, ever. And so, over time, like, other lesser flames took on the forms of the gods of any pantheon they wanted, really. Eris is the mother of one of the characters who is like a part of the Ruben gang, I call them, and his name is Aaron Stone, who is also Sam Allen's boyfriend. Eris doesn't like Aaron or Sam, like, at all, and so for years they'd have to deal with her evil, like, schemes and all that grand stuff. And Eris also, unfortunately, works for Chaos, and was tasked with capturing Ruby Darkshine, who was another person that sprang from Sam's consciousness, like 5 years ago. And she's also important to Chaos's plans. Ryan Gunther had been introduced to the Ruben gang by now. Also, I'm sorry I'm introducing so many names, but there's so much context. But yeah, Ryan had been introduced, so when Eris tried having her robot take Ruby, Ryan stopped them. Brian then had the idea to subdue Eris, and basically came up with the idea to drain most of her power. Nobody knew how the heck he was gonna do that, but he was gonna do that. And so he made like a machine to try and do it, and so he had Sam take him to where Eris could be, and so she did. Eris was there, and Brian tried to drain Eris's power with the machine he made, but it failed, and Sam got hit with a blast of Eris's power. And then Eris vanishes and can't find her anymore, so Ryan takes Sam back to Sanctuary, which is like a safe place for demi-flames. Half something, half flame. Most of them are just half human, half flame, but there's a possibility they couldn't be half human. But anyway, Ryan takes Sam back to Sanctuary, Sam passes out, and later, when she wakes up, she's kinda weird. She seems off, and slightly more like snappish and aggressive. And a few days later, on the news is reports about multiple buildings having been burned down in the night, and 2 bakes stolen from. And obviously the Ruben group was like, what, where did, who, what? And more reports, similar to those, kept popping up over the course of the next, 2 weeks. And the group still had no idea what was causing it. Ruby actually went out multiple times during the night, hoping to catch whoever it was in the act, but she was always too late, and could, for some reason, never sense any evidence of who was behind the destruction. Surprise, it was Riot. In the 2 days after Sam had been hit with Eris's power, said power had started to warp her mind and bring the darkest emotions to the forefront and get rid of any and all morals it could. And from that, Eris could control her when she was the most vulnerable, like when she'd fallen asleep and such. Why'd Eris do this? Because Cass had ordered her to try and get Sam back into the Agents of Chaos, willingly or not. She also has a magic watch that turns into a powerful sword, which is also a weapon Chaos made that Sam stole when she left the Agents, so Chaos could also get that back if Sam returned. So it was like a win-win for him. He gets one of his agents back, probably gonna kill her if she does fully return, and he gets a magic weapon, so yay! But gradually, this new personality that Sam took on when Eris controlled her started to split off and gain its own consciousness, and well, that turned into Riot, which is funny because by now Sam's had two entire people come from her negative emotions, and only one from her positive one. The other one from her negative emotions being Ruby, and the one from her positive ones being Sapphire. What is this? Sandersides? But yeah, no, she needs to get that checked out or something. Like, girl, you cannot keep letting that happen to you. She's probably looked into it, she's probably thought about what that says about her, and it's probably not good. Yeah, but when Sam was Riot, she'd basically do whatever Eris told her to, which was to cause as much chaos as possible. She'd cause a lot of chaos, the concept, not the character. And so Riot did, going around being an arsonist and a thief and a murderer, you know, the usual. Whenever Riot checked in, she usually stayed in Eris's penthouse, because she lived like the wealthy and acts as cliché as they're portrayed. As time went on, and Riot started becoming more of an actual person than just an Elias Sam donned, Riot was starting to willingly work for Eris, who planted the idea in her head to not trust any of Sam's allies, and that she could basically do whatever she wanted to, as long as she stayed loyal to Eris, and as long as she could deal with the consequences herself, if there were any. Eris surprisingly and basically just took care of her. She just treated her well, and so Eris kind of became like a mother figure to Riot, and she just acted as a mother figure because obviously Riot didn't have one, nor really know what that was. Riot also noticed how people feared her, and she kind of reveled in that. She liked the attention, and it made Eris proud of her, so she kept doing it. But the one downside is that Riot was like on a clock, basically. She couldn't always be there because then the Ruben gang would get suspicious as to where Sam went, or was. Riot started to despise Sam, and she basically formed the idea that Sam was the entire reason she couldn't be happy and live with Eris, because she and Sam still had to share a body. Eris couldn't separate them, one because of skill issue, and two because she still needed them to be connected, because if they weren't, Sam would just tell her friends who was causing all this destruction and death. And while like Eris was controlling her, and while Riot was in control, Sam was like blacked out, sort of, so she didn't remember. And it would only come to her like later when it was too late to fix anything. Yeah, but Riot didn't like that all too much. She didn't like the fact that Eris couldn't really separate them. But, you know, dropped it anyway because she knew Eris wouldn't approve if she pushed it further. But she still felt she deserved to and wanted to be her own person, not connect to Sam, because she felt she was not only... because she felt she not only wasn't Sam, but that she was better and stronger than Sam. Yeah, just a better version, you could say. One day, though, another week after the first 2 weeks of Riot doing Eris's dirty work, Riot was just sitting on a rooftop, like in the middle of the night, drinking hot cocoa when she noticed 4 girls in maybe 7th grade harassing this younger 5th grade girl, insulting her and the like to the point she was crying. And so Riot, curious, hopped down and asked them what they were doing. The 4 girls then proceeded to turn on Riot, telling her to mind her own business and calling her a freak and weirdo for wearing her mask, and that's about it. I don't know, teenagers. And so Riot snapped at them, telling them like scram and like shoving them away from the younger girl. And so they took the hit and ran, and when Riot looked back, the younger girl was already like gone. And the next night, Eris had already given her usual mission of go cause whatever chaos you want. And so Riot decided to complete her own agenda within that mission. She used a 7 of spades to track down where those 4 girls were from the previous night, and so she did what any completely sane person would do and kidnapped them in the middle of the night, portaling them to a construction site on top of a tower crane, with the girls tied up and tied to the main beam of it. The girls were scared, obviously, having no idea how they got here or where exactly they were. Riot knelt down in front of them and, you know, talked casually, as if they weren't just suddenly on top of a crane. You know, you guys should really think about the consequences of your actions. I would at it next time, but there isn't gonna be one for you. And so Riot, like, grins wickedly and just shoves the girls off the crane. And, you know, screams like, oh god, we're about to die. They don't die. There's ropes attaching them to the crane, and they just, like, hang upside down from it. And Riot then pulls out, like, a detonator and presses it, and 6 of the buildings in the, like, square around the construction site blow up. Boom! They're gone! Cops and, like, firefighters and ambulances, they, like, swiftly show up. And, you know, Riot's, like, reveling in this. It's like, yay! Another night of chaos. Woo! And then an arrow nearly takes out her eye. And so she, like, ducks and, like, spins towards it. And there's just Ruby on another rooftop of one of the buildings that hadn't exploded. And Ruby teleports over and tackles Riot off the crane, but Riot opens a portal underneath them, and they both tumble out onto another, still intact rooftop. And Riot, like, gets up quickly, and she, like, activates another one of her cards, and this one, like, multiplies when it's thrown, and so she throws it at Ruby, and sure enough, a flurry of cards just shoots towards Ruby, and, like, cuts her as they pass. And so she narrowly dodges, but still gets, like, a few cuts, and they... ooh, epic fight scene. At this point, Ruby had gotten, like, suspicious of Sam's son want to isolate herself from her friends, and, like, Sam's son disappearances. And so whenever Sam would disappear, Ruby wasn't able to track her because Eris was hiding Sam's chaos signature, so Riot wouldn't be found. And so Ruby proposed the idea to the others that Sam is causing the The mass deaths and destruction. Yep. The mass death and destruction. Because she would disappear and then another hot headline would pop up the next day. Ruby brought up the fact that only someone with extreme chaos power could hide a signature that flawlessly. I am struggling. Ruby brought up the fact that only someone with extreme chaos power could hide a signature that flawlessly, and because Sam doesn't use her chaos power anymore, it had to be someone else. And the group figured out that it was Eris. Because they don't like Eris. And Eris doesn't like them. And right after they figured that out, Ruby felt a spike of destruction and death as Riot just blew up the buildings. Because, I don't know, apparently she just didn't think that anybody was gonna notice. She could just blow up the buildings and go about her day. And so Ruby, like, told Ryan to perfect his, like, power draining machine that failed last time, while Ruby and Sapphire went to deal with Sam, or Riot. And so Ruby and Riot fight on the rooftops. Epic fight scene. Whoa. I wrote this. I wrote out their fight scene like a while ago, but I'm pretty sure it's lost now, which is unfortunate. But I do remember that Ruby ends up slicing Riot's mask in half, like with her dagger at one point, and Riot kind of like hits the ground, and now her mask like flies off her face and lands on another part of the roof. And Sapphire's eyes widen as she sees like half of Sam's face and goes like, Sam? Because to her, Ruby's idea had made like sense that Sam was causing all of this, but she still hadn't really believed that Sam would cause the chaos that Riot did. And, well, being mistaken for Sam made Riot snap, and she kind of like got to her feet and like lunged at them. She launched everything she had at them. But while Ruby and Riot were near matched in combat, Sapphire wasn't exactly on par with either of them. So Riot started targeting her, forcing Ruby to go on the defensive instead of mostly offensive. Ruby kicked Riot like backwards and she rolled before she got back up. Before Riot got back up and like jumped into the air. And she like spread her cards between her hands before spinning and launching a flurry of cards at the two again. And the two like are already like pretty banged up from like Riot's extreme hits. And so they gain even more bleeding cuts as the cards fly past them and they get on the ground again. They not get on the ground, they just follow. They're on the ground, they're wounded, they don't want to get back up. And so Riot then like glances up as Eris tells her in her mind to like go to her. And so Riot portals to Eris's penthouse, seeing Ryan fighting Eris, and Ryan's there to drain Eris's power, and he has his perfected machine in his hand. And so Riot sees it, it's like, wait, that's probably not good. And so she like lunges, and her and Ryan like fight, and his dagger extends into this like long sword with like an intricate handle, and it's all like glowing purple. It's called Fate's Blade. It's pretty cool. And then he stabs it through her and pins her to the wall via it. And Ryan then stabs the end of his machine into Eris's chest and like drains most of her power. He did most because he couldn't drain all of it, because Eris would just like disappear or something, because she's still a flame. So that wouldn't be good, because every flame is vital to the universe and stuff. Woo! And so Eris basically just like turns near mortal, I guess. And so Ryan like teleports her to an organization called Classified, who take care of like multiversal like threats. And so she gets locked up there. The Flame of Fate, or Jason, at the time had Ryan as his host, which is how Ryan had Fate's Blade. Whoa, shocking! And so Jason takes control, takes his blade out of Riot and the wall, and he like heals her before he separates Sam and Riot's minds, putting them under the same rule Sam, Ruby, and Sapphire had been under for like a good 5 years. That rule being that for every 2 hours the two would switch control of their shared body. Right? didn't like that much. She still doesn't like it because they still share a body, unfortunately, for both of them. But despite still having a shared body, Riot now has a girlfriend named Isabelle, who's also an ex-agent of Chaos. Riot doesn't really know much about the world. Like, she didn't know being gay was possible, and she only really knows various ways to kill people, how to be efficient about it, when people are lying and such. Mostly assassin-y stuff, not much else. And you're probably asking, since she and Sam share a body, couldn't Riot just get the information from Sam's mind? Well, no, because Emma has her locked out. Sam still feels guilty about what she did while being Riot before Riot became her own person, and despises Riot for what she did afterwards. So, yeah, they kind of hate each other. And even more unfortunately, everybody else of the Ruben group kind of hates Riot too. Riot just, like, wants to be accepted as her own person, but it's kind of hard to do that when you've nearly killed everyone in the friend group you're trying to be a part of. Yeah, I mean, she didn't try to kill Sebastian, who's Sapphire's boyfriend, but they got into, like, a battle after Riot went out and robbed another bank and caused some casualties. 7 dead and 3 in critical condition. After she did that, while the group was trying to find a way to protect her from a mercenary Chaos had to like, take care of defect agents of Chaos. I would say he's good at his job, but not really, because plot armor. Plot armor is the only thing stopping him from being good at his job. But, so yeah, basically, everybody except Isabelle hates Riot, but Sapphire is starting to see that even though she's sarcastic and snarky, and it seems like she doesn't care about anything most of the time, she just wants to be accepted, and Sapphire is starting to become willing to try. Though, Riot is probably gonna have just a little bit more personal problems in the future, because Eris actually ended up escaping Classified recently. Granted, not on her own. There was the whole thing with Agents of Chaos breaking in, stealing the multiversal sword. Then they kidnapped Sapphire and took her to the Chaos Realm. And then the Ruben group had to get Sapphire out of the Chaos Realm. And then, like, the day after, they all got, like, sent to their own universes. Not their own universes, but each, like, couple there basically got sent to a different universe with not many options on how to get back. So yeah, my point is, Eris is no longer locked up. Sure, she doesn't have, like, her powers anymore, but she can still make more robots. She can still make robots. And she still has robots that she made. They're still working for Chaos, which is not good. So yeah, Riot may be in another universe with Isabelle currently, but when she gets back, there's a chance Eris might show up again soon. Yeah, no, it's not good. But yeah, I hope I didn't go through this too quick. I'm gonna be honest, it kind of feels like I did, but yeah, that's basically it for Riot. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. It's probably gonna be like a pinned comment or something that I plan to put. There's gonna be a bit of options on who I do next, or if I continue storytellers little mini series. I need to do that. If I don't do that, I might do Ruby or Sam, but I don't know. It just depends on what you guys want first. It kind of depends a little bit. I just want to see who/what you're most interested in, I guess. I'm just relaying content to you. You might all get it. You might all get all of it soon enough. Not soon. Not soon enough. This is dragging on too long. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to see you guys in the next one. And, yeah. Bye-bye.